doing so, that the committee supported this recommendation, and the actual deletion of the policy to stop activities will occur in May 2024 via a BOE action. Can you speak a little more on that, Mr. Beers? Just why we're doing it and with the administration's recommendation. Do you mind? Sorry to put you on the spot.
No, it's no problem. If one of our overarching goals is equity, we see the student fees as a barrier to entry for students across the district. And although when we look back on the genesis of student fees, Bridgewater-Raritan was not unlike many districts where in 2010 there was a massive hit to everybody's budget, and we were scrambling to really try to find funds wherever we are. So we're in a much better fiscal situation right now, and we thought with the money generated and the positives that would come from it, that this would be a positive initiative to look at and budget for in 2024-25.
So this would be for all activities across the board?
Correct. The only thing we would continue to collect fees for would be senior parking. Because again, senior parking, we have to have a parking lot attendant, et cetera. There's an additional cost for the district from a personnel standpoint to have someone there in the parking lot. But that would be the only fee we collect.
That's a different policy, too.
Yes. But yes, it would essentially waive all fees for clubs, sports, all those things.
Band, choir, orchestra,
Yeah,
but throughout
I
the
think that's
district.
great for equity and just helping students, like I mentioned before, with the club fairs, helping students find clubs and activities to do. Because so often it's, you miss the bus and you have an hour to kill and you walk around and you find a club, and that winds up being a place where you find a home or find a group of students who are interested in something, and you go home there. It's not necessarily a decision to join before the year, but I think it's a great way to encourage people to try different things. And
Absolutely, and when you look at a barrier, look, I'll go back to my younger self 20, 25 years ago when I was, a track and field coach walking the halls of Roxbury High School. I try to convince kids, hey, why don't you give this a shot? And a kid's less likely to give it a shot if now you say, oh, it's going to cost you $100, right? So you've got people, whether it's athletics, whether it's a club, whether it's music, et cetera, saying, tapping a kid on the shoulder, but then to collect money, sometimes you don't get that young person out on you.
Yeah, I just wanted to join the support on that one. But also I think it's once kids are enrolled, to be able to have an exit strategy out when they're not happy and not feeling guilty because they've invested in it, I think is a good thing too.
That's true.
This is one I've advocated for 9 years, and I'm very proud of the administration making this recommendation, so thank you very much. So, last thing in the information is we had applied for what's called ROD grants, regular operating district grants, back in March. And we were informed that we had been awarded some, but we finally found out what they were awarded for, and one of them's a Hillside and something at Adamsville, right?
Well, we haven't gotten formal notification for all of them.
Oh,
We've
yeah.
received some
A couple, so they're coming. That was the project amounts to about $17 million, and the grant amount of those projects is about $8 million, correct? $7-8 million. So it's a nice way we're getting additional more tax dollars back, and we're able to do more to the district to help evolve it and accessorize what we're doing with the referendum. There's no recommendation on that. We'll get more information when the letters come and approved. Our next meeting is December 4th at 5:30 p.m. We adjourned at 6:30. Any questions?
Thank you, Mr. Walker. Mr. Joshi, you are up with Personnel Committee, please.
Okay. The committee met yesterday at 5 o'clock. In attendance were myself, Mrs. Calistri, Mrs. Friedlander, Mr. Singer, Dr. Fonder, and Mr. Beers. The first item on the agenda was the personnel addendum, which we have for approval tonight, and the committee supported all the action items. Item 2 were the policies, and as you can see, 3161, 3212, 3324, lots of them, 3432, 4161, 4212, 4324, 4432. The committee discussed the policies and regulations to be revised or abolished, And the discussion included a review of the rationale for Strauss Esme for these changes. And the committee members discussed the value of each proposed change, and the committee supported all the action items there on the agenda for tonight. We also discussed the review of various policy series, which we had picked up back in September. These were the zero bylaws, the 00 series. The committee discussed the Personnel Committee's review of the bylaws section of the policy manual and agreed to look at specific policies at the next meeting in December. No action was taken. We adjourned at 5:42. This was a short one. Our next meeting is December 5th at 5 o'clock virtually.
Thank you, Mr. Joshi. Are there any liaison or delegate reports? All right, seeing none. Delegates Assembly is December 4th.
December 4th, that sounds right. Definitely encourage anyone to attend, for the public or the board, because it is open to the public. If you want to learn more about school boards and their different initiatives and how they're trying to affect policy.
I haven't seen any emails about it, though. Have I missed
I
it?
really haven't seen much either. I don't know if we've gotten there may not be any resolutions up, that could be the reason. But I will check in and report back if we.
Well, first of all, your mic's not on. Second of all, will they hold an assembly if there's no resolutions?
Yes, because there's a lot more business that goes on there. There'll be policy changes. I'll have an update on Friday night. I'll get back to you, Mike, on that. I don't know if there's any resolutions. Because, no, the Board of Directors meeting is Friday night, so I can give you an update on that.
Okay.
That'll come out, so.
And it's usually on Saturdays, right?
It's a Saturday. It's held at
Saturday the
Mercer Community College. There's a breakfast served. Mike?
Okay, noted.
Mike always likes, I'm good for food and breakfast, so it's always good. So, and then it's usually done by about noon. If there's no resolutions, it's probably going to be a 2-hour meeting, so it'll be a little more.
Yeah, definitely worthwhile to attend virtually or in person.
Yeah, I will. I think they don't have to have virtual anymore. Do they
They
have
do.
virtual? They do. So, yeah, you can't vote. You cannot vote virtually. You have to be present to vote.
Or would you get credit for it on your transcripts for those that are interested in such things?
I will be attending. I have a meeting afterwards, so I will be there too.
And for anyone who was at the workshop, almost for certain, you'll see some of the same faces there, so you can keep some of those connections going and networking and everything like that. So definitely worth checking out.
Thank you. We're up to item number 11, the first public session period on action items only. Individuals and/or groups are invited to present their concerns, comments, and requests regarding the following action items to the Board of Education at this time. In accordance with board policy, members of the public are allotted one opportunity to address the board for a maximum of 5 minutes during this period of the meeting. Please be advised that a video recording of this meeting will be posted on the district's website, and we ask that you state your name and your residence for the record. And again, this is only on action items under items number 12 and 13. This is just on 12 and 13. All right. So once, twice. Okay, I'm going to close that portion of public comment. We're up to item number 12, the approval of minutes.
So moved. Second.
Are there any changes to the minutes? Seeing none, Mr. Stars.
Mr. Pepe,
Yes.
Ms. Calistri,
Yes.
Mr. Joshi,
Abstain on both regular session and closed session.
Ms. Freelander,
Yes.
Ms. Lee,
Yes.
Ms. Levitt,
Abstain on both.
Ms. Lochran,
Yes.
Mr. Walker,
Yes.
Mr. Singer.
Yes, the motion passes. We're up to item number 13. Up first is Personnel 2416.
So moved.
Second.
Are there any questions or comments? Seeing none, Mr. Stars.
Mr. Pepe,
Yes.
Ms. Calistri,
Yes.
Mr. Joshi,
Yes.
Ms. Freelander,
Yes.
Ms. Lee,
Yes.
Ms. Levitt,
Yes.
Ms. Lochran,
Yes.
Mr. Walker,
Yes.
Mr. Singer.
Yes, the motion passes. We're up to Curriculum 2427 through Curriculum 2431.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions or comments?
I have a comment.
Ms. Lee, go ahead.
So for information reason, can
Can you elaborate on the curriculum revisions?
I did send them to you, so I don't know if this is more for the public, which is okay. When we did our CUSAC review, they look at interdisciplinary standards, and we had social studies practices tagged to it, which are interdisciplinary, but they don't count for the purpose of CUSAC. So we actually had to change them to standards. So we used writing standards, grammar standards, because they obviously work very well with Latin. But we actually, when we change the curriculum, we have to re-board approve it. So then I have to let the county know that we made these revisions, we aligned things to interdisciplinary standards, and we re-board approved. So I don't know if that answers your question?
Yeah,
Yes.
but there was no change
there
to
was-
the
thank you.
actual.
There was
what
no
is being
change to
taught,
the
it's
actual
just aligning
content
with
or what it
standard.
is that we're teaching. It's simply a practice in making sure that we have correctly identified interdisciplinary standards as defined by the CUSAC process, which is actually different than just having interdisciplinary standards. They only accept some, so, yes.
Thank
But
you
you
very
do
much.
have to re-board approve. So anytime we change curriculum, you will know about it.
And then that's
Kind
very,
of It kind of gives a lot of that feedback to a lot of different districts.
Yes, they do. We actually,
Process.
are looking pretty good right now, so,
yeah.
yes.
And that's the part of the process, you have to actually have to prove the fact that you've done it. So now it's board
Absolutely. So
approved.
now I will prove
Now we
that
can
it was
check.
on our board agenda and that we re-board approved it.
Yeah,
That's
so-
exactly right.
They had a very impressive list of all the check boxes where everything was done, and they have it
Yes.
supporting documents when the county comes in and checks. So quite an effort you guys did.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm going to abstain on some of the CUSAC stuff tonight, just because I'm involved in that in another district, so just to be extra safe, if there's any overlap. So that's the reason I'm abstaining from anything CUSAC related tonight.
expert, you should sit in the community next time.
Just so you know, though, Mike,
Thank you.
just so you know, it's only, you do that, but it's only approving curriculum.
No, I
It's not-
totally
okay.
understand. Of course.
Yes.
Any other questions? Seeing none, Mr. Stars.
Mr. Pepe.
Abstain on curriculum 2431, yes on everything else.
Ms. Calistri.
Yes.
Mr. Joshi.
Yes.
Ms. Freelander.
Yes.
Ms. Lee.
Yes.
Ms. Levitt.
Yes.
Ms. Lockren.
Yes.
Mr. Walker.
Abstain on curriculum 2427, yes on the remainders.
Mr. Singer.
Yes, the motion passes. We're up to business 2459 through business 2468.
So moved.
Second.
Questions or comments?
The bid for the bleachers, I understand that there's more involved in that than just switching out the bleachers that are there and putting in new bleachers. This will enhance that facility in a couple different ways. Is that correct?
That is correct.
It's going to be a front entrance only bleachers, so, where was I at the,
I think Mr. Beers is.
oh, there he is, gotcha.
Oh, no, that's fine.
I didn't see.
It, really, the grandstand is going to look totally different. As we know, the home bleachers, and most likely the away, they're original to the facility. And when we look at some of the issues that we have now, we don't even have handrails going up the stairs. So when you undertake a project like this, you're looking at access, right, for handicap, et cetera. It's got to be ADA accessible. So a lot of things that go into it. But Mr. Walker's right. Essentially, you're going to take that set of bleachers. They're going to be totally demolished. It's going to be jogged back, let's say, about 10 feet, where you're going to have the access path in front of the bleachers instead of behind. So it's well lit, you have better access, better supervision, et cetera. But yes, it's going to be beautiful. It's going to be an enormous change. And look, one of the options that we looked at and the committee agreed to, Board of Ed hopefully agrees to, is when you go with an I-beam construction with these grandstands, what that happens now is you put sheet metal on the outside of the bleachers and you have massive amounts of storage that you could use under this facility. So instead of having athletics equipment or band equipment, things like that, strewn all over the place, you actually have a weather-tight area that you could store all your things, keep it there, and it's safe, secure, et cetera. So we're talking about vehicles, right, the gators, not, you can't fit a truck through there. But, gators, equipment, things like that will have safe and secure storage.
And will there be more seating or no? Are you
It-
adding more?
It'll be the same amount of seating, but from my understanding, it's going to be slightly wide, slightly longer, and not as high. But the same amount, it'll be the same amount of square footage, just,
As a future high school parent, I'm glad to see that there won't be access to the underneath of the bleachers anymore.
it's great. Especially with no lights, yes. It's a good thing. And I'm trying to think of the other parts. Obviously, the other areas that are not on this bid, we're looking at a sound system, et cetera, just to make sure that the place is up and running. And it's going to be a nice look.
Thank you very much.
It's well needed. Thanks. I know way too much about high school bleachers after this
You're the
project.
expert, I figured I'd ask you why I had you.
I think if you want to look at the bleacher, it looks like it, I think the Pingree bleachers are very similar to it, from what the architect said, the way it's enclosed. So, the structure's similar to Franklin also, but theirs is not enclosed underneath. And we also are enlarging the press box too, so a better press box from the top. So.
Oh, and I forgot the other part. It's going to sit on a concrete slab. So you're going to have footings, right, for your supports, but underneath that storage area I'm talking about, that sits on a concrete slab. So a lot of our athletics teams, I know the band, et cetera, you're not going to have to worry about those nasty tarps hanging over the stairs on the corner. Things will stay dry and accessible. And we'll get rid of all those darn trailers that are strewn all over the place. So, I'll stop.
Any other questions?
I'd like to thank the administration on a clean audit with no changes. That's quite a good accomplishment. So Mr. Stars and Mr. Beers. So, now I'm with all 11 schools, and a lot of times the activities accounts, there's always something that goes, there was a clean audit, which is quite with no changes. So thank you and good job.
All right, if that's it, then Mr. Stars, please call the roll.
Mr. Pepe,
Yes.
Ms. Calistri,
Yes.
Mr. Joshi,
Yes.
Ms. Friedlander,
Yes.
Ms. Lee,
Yes.
Ms. Levitt,
Yes.
Ms. Lochran,
Yes.
Mr. Walker,
Yes.
Mr. Singer.
Yes, the motion passes. There are no special services action items today, so we're up to other 2415 through other 2417.
So moved.
Second.
Are there any questions on 2417, I guess, or anything that needs to be moved into closed session for 2415 and 16?
For 2417, are we still waiting on some numbers for some of those categories in the academic section where we're, at the moment, I think like around 40% compliance compared to,
It was like county number, like the county had to fill them in? It was-
Yeah, the curriculum numbers are not there.
Oh, you mean the parts that they do? Yes, so they'll actually give us numbers for our assessments, student achievement scores. It's student achievement scores and it's graduation rates, so they fill all that in for us. But we do not have that yet, no.
right, that's what I figured.
Yes.
They is the DOE, right?
Yes, the
Okay.
DOE,
You
sorry.
just checking. I was like,
It
who's
is
they?
the DOE, yes.
So there's a sense of frustration that
Yes, that's
we're
provided to us.
facing and
No, I-
other districts are, because, yes, we're asking for folks to approve this, but I would say you're really approving what we are capable of filling out, right? So what we're responsible for, because in a perfect world, that would have already been self-populated by the DOE, which unfortunately, as of November 14th, has not happened.
Despite the fact that we did have to already submit everything for curriculum, hence the Latin reapproval, yes.
Do we approve it again after we get those numbers or no?
Hmm.
No.
I don't think so.
Okay.
We can ask the DOE, right?
No, but along those lines, what we will have is after the actual visit from the DOE, we will have final scores, right? So we're sending these these DPRs in for approval, and we have to upload them on the, on homeroom. And then when the Department of Education comes and visits us in January, we go through and we'll have an official score that we can report out. This is really a self-assessment. That's the first part.
Thanks.
I'd like to thank administration. They did a great job. You all, I know you have files and files of information you had to document and put through a curriculum. Even Mr. Stars, when his meeting, brought up a topic where the BAs were discussing with the county BA, and they said, and one of the BAs said, "You really can't achieve that." And so they all had to downgrade their scores because of that. But it's kind of they did a great job. So thank you. It's 3 years now. We're good for 3 years. We hope. If we do well, we usually come 3 years is usually. So thank you.
Hopefully longer.
Thank you, Mr. Pepe. I appreciate you asking the question and for the administration to clarify that. Any other questions? Seeing none, Mr. Stars.
Mr. Pepe,
Abstain.
Ms. Calistri,
Yes.
Mr. Joshi,
Abstain on 2415 and 2416. Yes to 2417.
Ms. Freelander,
Yes.
Ms. Lee,
Yes.
Ms. Levitt,
Yes.
Ms. Lochran,
Yes to 2415, 2417, abstain on 2416.
Mr. Walker,
Yes.
Mr. Singer.
Yes. The motion passes, right? Lastly, we're up to policy 2408 through policy 2411.
So moved.
Second.
Are there any questions or comments? There are lots of policies up today.
I'm just going to comment that I'm going to abstain on 2410 just because I haven't had time to read through all of that I'm not questioning the content. I just haven't looked at it yet.
That's fine. It's first reading, so that's fine.
Yeah, that's what I figured.
Any other questions or comments? Seeing none. Mr. Stars.
Mr. Pepe,
Yes.
Ms. Calistri,
Yes.
Mr. Joshi,
Yes.
Ms. Freelander,
Yes.
Ms. Lee,
Yes.
Ms. Levitt,
Yes on all except for 2410 abstain.
Ms. Lochran,
Yes.
Mr. Walker,
Yes.
Mr. Singer.
Yes, the motion passes. We're now up to item number 14, our second public comment session. Individuals and or groups are invited to present their concerns, comments, and requests to the Board of Education at this time for any matters. In accordance with board policy, members of the public are allotted one opportunity to address the board for a maximum of 5 minutes during this period of the meeting. Please be advised that a video recording of this meeting will be posted on the district's website, and we ask that you state your name and residence for the record as well.
On anything.
Hey, Mike. AJ.
So my name is Hassan Ahmed. I live in Bridgewater, and I just wanted to start out by thanking all of you. I really appreciate what you guys do and all that you do to serve. Also, our teachers and principals who are here. Thank you all, and congratulations. I have a 10th grader in high school and a 7th grader in the middle school. And for all these years, I remember when kindergarten was, not, full day and the inconvenience of that. So I'm happy to hear that it is now full day. But since then, all these years, I've never felt that my family or my kids would be excluded or alienated until this morning. And, we received this letter from the principal in the middle school. And, we have well-established principles that our schools are apolitical, a-religious. And, in this letter, the principal, she had written in the last paragraph of the letter, she had indicated, look, if because of the current events that are going on, if you want to be able to talk to your kids about it, go to this website. And when you go to this website, right up in the front of the website, the first page, it's clear, one-sided, like there's a hot button political issue, and it's a clear, we stand with one side. And not only that, right underneath, it's calling for solidarity to a march in solidarity for one side. And, You know, at the end of this letter, I just thought to myself, I was like, what happens to the people who are opposed to this point of view, right? Like, what if they don't have that point of view? And I think that it really opens up the people on that side to harassment, intimidation, bullying, and it's a cause of great concern. I've spent many years in the civil rights world. I'm an attorney, over 20 years now as a criminal defense attorney and a civil rights attorney. And I stand with every single one of you, everyone in this room, 100% against anti-Semitism, Islamophobia, hate in every form. But I also know that when an institution like the ADL takes a position that is so one-sided in a political view, they can't actually, go forward in their civil rights work without their biases seeping in. And that's why I'd gotten this letter. I'd written an email to all of you. I hope you received it. And I just wanted to ask you all to just don't do this program and put people in this position. Like, politics should not be in any of our schools. Like, we have robust rules and procedures in the harassment, intimidation, and bullying that deals with this hate. And you don't have to take my word for it. For ADL and them being unable to do this work. Like, there's actually about over 200 groups actually in the civil rights world that they came out and they actually said, and they signed it publicly, and I encourage you all to see it. It's at droptheadl.org, and they signed it saying, do not have your schools partner with ADL. Do not form coalitions with them. And I just wanted to read some of these to you, and I know I'm probably up to my time, but these are the signatories. And just think, like, it's not just my family or my children that are being alienated. It's anyone that's affiliated with any of these groups. The American Friends Service Committee, the American Muslims for Palestine, Arab American Studies Association, Arab Resource and Organizing Center, Asian American Advocacy Fund, Association of Raza Educators, Black Alliance for Just Immigration, Black and Pink Inc., Black LGBTQ plus Migrant Project, Just Cause, Center for Constitutional Rights, Center for Political Education, Civil Rights Corps, Claremont College's Prison Abolition Collective, Coalición de Derechos Humanos, Community Peacemaker Teams, Cooperation Jackson, the Council on American Islamic Relations, Critical Resistance, Democratic Socialists of America, Detention Watch Network, Dream Defenders, Daisy's Rising Up and Moving, East Coast Asian American Student Union, Ella Baker Center for Human Rights, Fellowship of Reconciliation, Familia Trans Queer Liberation Movement, Haitian Action Committee,
Sir,
If
I'm
Not
gonna have
Now,
to ask you to finish up.
the Jewish Voices for Peace, Jewish Against Anti-Muslim Racism, Jews Against White Supremacy, Jews for Racial Economic Justice, the Madrasa Shura, Media Justice, Movement of Black Lives, Empower Change, Muslim American Society.
Sir, I'm going to have to ask you to finish up, please.
And there's many more, and I would just encourage all of you, take a look at the list, take a look at the signatories. Thank you for listening to me. I appreciate all of you. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your time.
Hello, good evening. My name is Kauser Ahmed. I'm a longtime Bridgewater resident. I've raised all our kids in this town and all through the crim onto the last one being in high school right now. Two of them been in the academics and also in the athletics, varsity captains and so on. And still continuing their educations in New Jersey. So we're very proud of our Board of Educations for all the work they have done over the years. And I echo the sentiment, as you have heard from the previous speakers. Many of you, we met, we're good friends. We may have different opinions on certain factors, but we're all neighbors. So we're very concerned that we're partnering with organizations that may have done great works in the past, but for whatever reason, they're not being what I would say a good partner for whatever political stance they have taken, namely ADL. Now, we've known their histories and their work in the civil rights, and we do appreciate that. But at the same time, we also understand there needs to be a balance. And I echo that politics, whatever way it is, should be taken out from kids' education. They should be given information, facts, and then they should be able to make their own political decisions. So one way or another, we cannot indoctrinate our kids into one view or another view. We need to give them informations. We need to educate them. We need to teach them how to critically look at issues. And I implore you to look into policies and procedures that excludes these biases, that gives them a path to be able to think critically, gather information, and some of the informations, as we know these days, are biased. The first casualty of any war is truth. And we need to teach our kids how to find that truth and to be able to think critically. And in order to do that, you cannot have one biased view represent the way things are at this time. So in these issues, we like to say, if you're really interested in having anti-bully, if you're really interested in having anti-bias, anti-hate, then pick someone who are at least neutral, who does not have one agenda or another. And it doesn't mean that we're not against someone. We just don't want to indoctrinate our kids one way or another. So I implore you to look at that and make sure you uphold the offices that you hold and provide a fair way that you run a fair board of educations to teach our futures, our kids. We're very precious, and as you take your job seriously, and the way you conduct the operations of Board of Educations, you understand that our voices are heard, and as residents of Bridgewater, we're all come together and we look at our kids who are our futures, and they're the one that we will do all the works that you do, and especially, I thank you for all your dedications towards the educations of our kids, which is very paramount and legacy from us to our future generations. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Good evening, respected board members and neighbors. Thank you for your service and your time and dedication for being here and taking the time to listen to us. We really appreciate it. My name is Sabrina. I grew up in Bridgewater my whole life. I'm a product of the Bridgewater Board of Education, K through 12. I owe a huge debt of gratitude for every success that I have, every career success, educational success, my critical thinking, everything. I have the great privilege of serving as a public interest attorney at a legal service organization where I provide pro bono services to New Jersey residents that are low income and seniors. And it's everything that everything that makes me a lawyer, that upholding the rule of law, justice, the Constitution, everything that it means for me to be a resident of Bridgewater, of a citizen of the United States, a human being that feels for suffering across the world, that brings me to this call of action. I echo the sentiments of my neighbors who are equally concerned that partnering with a partisan politicized group as an educational school district that should hold true to their values and be completely separate from such partisan groups. I'm really concerned about the bias and the hate that this will inevitably lead to, and I urge each of you to read the ACLU statement to universities and colleges. Just read one line from there. This was in response to the ADL statement to universities. A college or university, by extension, a public school, cannot fulfill its mission as a forum for vigorous debate if its leaders initiate baseless investigations into those who express disfavored or even loathsome views. They spoke about the experience of our country's universities during the McCarthy era, demonstrates that ideologically motivated efforts to police speech on campus destroy that foundation on which academic communities are built. And so I just urge you to hold true to the values of the Bridgewater education system that I know and love so much. And I know that you are people of conscience and you are people that care so deeply about the future of the children of this district, and that you will do the right thing considering what's at stake during this climate. The safety of everyone is of concern. We absolutely agree that no hate should be allowed in Bridgewater, but we just urge that this be brought into the school through a neutral venue and not through a political biased group. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Good evening, Jessica Gallico, Branchburg. So I didn't come here to speak about this, but after just reading the letter that everybody here is mentioning, it's on district letterhead. It said that a new program coordinated with the ADL, so I would assume then you all voted for this. I haven't read the letter. Specifically stated that there was a new program adopted this year to start working on programs with the ADL, and it was on district letterhead. Okay. I know it's no back and forth, so I guess I'll just wait till the end. Just another side note, I watch all the meetings online, and there is a little bit of a mic issue. I'm not sure if you know, but like the volume and whatnot when you're watching online, it's kind of hard to hear all of you and the speakers as well. I wanted to talk about where Bridgewater ranks. A month ago, the 100 top ranking schools, Bridgewater School District ranked number 42. I graduated from Somerville, Goville, but we need to do better. I love all the improvements that are happening around town, but we're not a demolition zone. For example, hearing that there's going to be new bleachers, that's great. We need a winning football team. Our cheerleaders don't even compete in competitions. Parents spend so much money, thousands of dollars a year.
I'm
to
sorry,
send
can I interrupt?
I
one
thought it was
time?
in the back and forth, but go
No,
ahead.
but it's not going to be a back and forth, but I'm just laying out parameters.
Yes.
I'm going to ask that you do not disparage any students
I apologize.
who walk through this hallway. You already made reference to a football team, and now you're talking about cheerleaders. Respectfully, if you continue to bash students in our district, I'm going to ask that we cut off your time and cut off the mic.
I agree. That was not my intent, and I apologize. To anybody listening, I never meant it to be students. I wanted to let you know frustration with many different organizations that parents spend outside money for certain training, whether it be athletics, violin, any extracurricular activity that parents spend to have their kids enrolled in certain programs, that we can do better, just like academics, that we can do better than 42. That's not a slash on the teachers. I'm an educator. It's not a slash on the students. All I'm saying is we can do better. Cybersecurity. There was an article that went out about cybersecurity. I'm glad that the district is doing everything possible. Last year, I received a letter in the mail with no Bridgewater letterhead, just Mr. Beers, Superintendent Beers, through the chair to Mr. Beers, signature on it, that I was cyber hacked and my personal information was compromised, and that this district is paying for me to have a year of cyber protection. I was like, why would Bridgewater have my information? 20 years ago, I was a substitute teacher the minute that I got out of high school, college, and I was a substitute teacher in the district. Unfortunately, through speaking with somebody after calling HR, they informed me that my name happened to be purged from those people. I'm hoping that my name is purged, and I was just following up, being that there was an article in the newspaper, if all of the children were given direct contact, that their information was compromised as well. Talking to many residents in Bridgewater, the children were never informed that their names were compromised and their personal information. My last and final thing that I would like to speak about is security. Any program that comes, if it's a dance competition on the weekend, if it's even intramural basketball, I would like to know, again, I know it's no back and forth, so I'll ask the question, is there security at all of these events that take place, whether it's on the weekend or after school? Thank you. Have a great night. And again, I do apologize.
Good evening. My name is Hassan Mahmood. I am a little bit newer resident of Bridgewater, about 4 years living in Bridgewater. I have a son who goes to middle school, and my daughter is still in elementary school. So I just would like to, I'm not going to take too much time. I just like to second what you guys have already heard. We just would like, if there is going to be any activity or any program, to stay unbiased, focus on the education, please, and just give our kids that they can decide on their own what they want to be in the future and not really influence their thoughts in either way. So I would really appreciate if the board can really take a step on this one. Thank you very much.
Assalamu alaikum. May peace be unto you. My name is Sarah Medimadi, and I am a Bridgewater resident with 2 children in the district. Thank you for the opportunity to speak tonight. At the surface, the No Place for Hate campaign appears to deliver a positive message, one that all schools would want to instill within their students, to combat bias and bullying and to treat all with kindness, and to hopefully create a safe school climate where all students can feel seen and welcomed. I appreciate that the middle school is looking to have such programming. The concern comes when you look at the organization and their website. Upon searching for the ADL's No Place for Hate campaign and clicking on the link, I was immediately met with a pop-up message stating, "We stand with Israel, stay informed and take action." The website goes on to detail the uptick of anti-Semitism, but makes no mention of increased Islamophobia. It highlights the struggles of innocent people in Israel and makes no mention of the thousands of innocent killed, injured, and displaced in Palestine. I echo what my brothers and sisters have shared. It feels highly inappropriate to partner with the ADL, and I kindly request that the district look into either developing their own curriculum or look into one from a neutral organization. Thank you.
Can I, if I could just make a comment? I'm sorry, sir. And then you, it's, And I appreciate everyone's comments, and I don't want this to be taken as me trying to shut down public comment or what have you, because everyone is able to go to the podium and speak. I think when we look at what the objective of this program was. It's certainly not to divide the community. I believe that wasn't the intent. Again, in prior years, a very similar program ran at Bridgewater Middle School for 2016 through COVID, and we were recognized as a Gold Star No Place for Hate school. And I hear what the audience is saying, but we have to know that the intent of this was not to divide, but it was an attempt to unite. With that being said, I hear what people are saying, and we certainly take all these comments seriously, and we'll discuss action items afterwards. But I think it is important, and I see, and I hear the comments, but I don't believe the objective was, what's going on right now. The objective was to try to bring students together. Obviously, it's not having that effect. So, so with that being said, I just felt that I needed to step in and say that our objectives were not to divide. And again, so I'll stop talking, and if anyone else wants to take the microphone, please.
In a good way, in a good way. Hi, I'm Mohsin, Bridgewater residents. First of all, thank you for your, jumping in and explaining. I was surprised that you guys didn't know about the email, but it looks like you guys are aware of what's happening. Just want to say I come in peace and love. I have 2 kids in high school. I don't really know what grade they're in. Probably that my wife and their friends, they know what grade they're in, because, it's a wife thing, I guess. So this is the first time I'm stepping my, foot in this building, because I was never concerned. And, I saw the email and I was really concerned about what's going on. And even today I saw that, be respectful, kind, and responsible. First time I'm seeing this, believe it or not. I don't even look at my email because my wife takes care of that, right? So I'll make it short. What everybody said, I just want to add the same, it's the same message over and over, that, we send our kids here with full peace of mind that they're going to learn with free, independent, education. And I tell them all the time, the educators come above the parents, and that's what my culture and my religion teaches us. So with a lot of respect, I tell them, listen, you do not talk back to teachers. I'm just giving you, quick examples how we raise our kids. They talk back to me, but, I'm their father. I can punch them and play them, wrestle with them, whatever, off record. I know it's being recorded. Right? So I just want to say that, right? If a organization comes with a big message, say no to hate, you want to make sure you vet that organization. That say no to hate could mean say, yes to hate. That's a problem, because what's happening is, you want to say no to hate, say no to everything, right? My brother here mentioned about, say no to anti-racism or LGBTQ or Islamophobia. It should be across the board. And don't, some of the organizations, they come in, they instill these, we are, the flag bearer of peace and wisdom and whatnot. You should vet them and know what their hidden agendas are. And, you guys are the brain of the country. You are the educators, so we have full faith in you. That's it, thank you.
Hi everyone, I'm Annie Qureshi. I have 3 kids in the district and I'm the president of Bradley Gardens Elementary School. I'm not gonna repeat everything what everyone say. All I wanted to say is I have my trust in you, I have my faith in you. And I can tell that you guys did not know it was in a board BOE approved event. So please, all I want you guys to please take a look at this. You got multiple emails today from all of us, so please let us know what you guys are doing about it. We trust you, and we want to hear back from you. This program is kicking in on Thursday, and I hope you guys take action before that. Thank you.
So thanks for having us and giving us the opportunity. First of all, I'd like to thank everybody for the amazing job you guys have been doing since eons. I think it's my third visit in a meeting of similar nature with you guys. So amazing job again, and very congrats to everybody with the tenure, the birthdays. I think they're still looking for your birthday. So hopefully they'll find it one way or the other. I'm going to read a quote, and then I'll reveal who it is. But it's supposed to be one of the greatest leaders, political leaders of the last century. And here it goes. I do not agree that the dog and the manager has the final right to manage, even though he may have lain there for a very long time. I do not admit that right. I do not admit, for instance, that a great wrong has been done to the Red Indians of America or the black people of Australia. I do not admit that a wrong has been done to these people by the fact that a stronger race, a higher grade race, a more worldly wise race, to put it that way, has come in and taken their place. Now, this quote was stated by Winston Churchill, and he's supposed to be one of the greatest leaders. And I think that, in conjunction with the truth or history is always written by the victors, we need to see what is happening. And again, to your point, Mr. Beers, the intention was not to divide, it is to unite. And I see, that plus the program that you mentioned during COVID. COVID really took us, off the beaten path. We had no idea what was going on, how you guys handled the teachers, the students, the online immediately went into effect. That was a great job. And the work that you guys did in terms of seminars and the programs, again, amazing. I think in this, again, not to repeat, but just see what you guys can do. Maybe alter the program, use a different, I think it's definitely needed, the program itself, but just see who are you going to use, who you're going to bring in to bring, everybody together. And it's not just one side or the other side, it's all sides. And it's not just one topic. Yes, it's happening right now, but there have been many wars in the last couple of years, at least, I don't know, I don't have a number, but every other year there seems to be one or the other war. I don't see such programs coming in for every single war. Otherwise, you guys would be pretty busy with your agenda items. So I understand it's critical, it's important to everybody, but yeah, if you can see some next steps from you guys, and I'm sure you guys are going to take some action, and as Sister Annie said, it's going to be going into effect on Thursday, which basically gives you guys less than 48 hours to react, but I'm sure you guys are going to be on top of it and really appreciate your appreciation. And from a Bridgewater perspective, loved the logo, the bright programs that was done, amazing job. So really looking forward to what you guys have in store for the future. And absolutely huge shout out for the cybersecurity programs that you guys have introduced in high school. Absolutely love it, because that combined with the other courses that you guys doing in terms of robotics and whatnot, that is the future. So you guys are paving the way, and keep at it. Thank you.
I'll say once, twice. There it is. Hi, Laura.
Hi, my name's Laura Kress. I'm the president of the Bridgewater-Raritan Education Association, and I'm a school teacher, ironically social studies. So I just felt the need to say and kind of echo, guys would kind of choke me up a little bit here, cry a little bit. I totally understand what's going on, and I want to echo the sentiment of Mr. Beers. As working in a middle school, we all know that 13 and 14-year-olds aren't necessarily nice to each other on the best of days without a war, right? Like, that is the truth. And so this program was originally initiated to kind of combat the everyday crazy name-calling, racism, things that kids say to one another that are completely inappropriate and extremely hurtful, right? And I don't believe, just knowing the person that sent this out, I'm not getting involved in who they asked and if it was approved and any of that, none of my business. But knowing this person, I believe that her heart was in the right place, because they're very big, the administration at the middle school, of not tolerating name calling, and hate. So I totally get what you're saying, and I didn't even realize that myself because I read the email myself today, and I didn't click that link though. So that's all I wanted to say is I just don't believe it was done in a place, of being one-sided. I think it was done maybe through more of a tunnel of let's just try to address this issue of what's going on. And as a social studies teacher, I'm actually teach the 5 major world religions, and the last thing we're ever going to discuss is who's right and who's wrong and what's happening, So that's it.
Thank you, Laura. And I would like to add one thing that also agrees with, I think, the sentiment of what we heard. And I think this is super important today in the world in which we live and with many different topics that come to us, that we do believe very strongly that we do need to be apolitical and a-religious, and we do need to create environments where all students feel accepted. So that's important to all of us. So we want you to know that.
So I'm going to close that portion of public comment. I just want to address 2 comments that were made. First of all, thank you all for bringing your voice to us. We have received your emails, and we appreciate it. I just want to clarify, there is no action for the board to take because there was no action taken by the board. The action that will be taken, if any, will be by the administration in that regard. And so, as Mr. Beers and Ms. Jones have said, they are taking it under advisement and will address the situation. The second thing that I wanted to address is the question regarding security. I ask that you take a look at Regulation 7510 as that deals with security requirements in terms of events that are after school. Anything else? Once, twice? All right. With that being said, we're now up to item number 15, old business. Is there any other old business? Mrs. Levitt.
First, before I change the subject, just again, another thank you for coming and speaking, because just like Laura Kress said, I may have read the email and not clicked on the link and not thought of all the ramifications. So, having a voice and bringing it to us is appreciated, even though it's not something we directly take action on. And certainly, appreciate Mr. Beers' comment that definitely the intent was always to bring us together and eliminate hate and not to separate us as a community. So thank you again. So as many of you have heard me talk over and over again about healthy school hours, I apologize for repeating myself, but there are some who haven't heard all the core facts, and I never want to stray from that message. All major health organizations in the United States, including the American Medical Association, the American Academy of Pediatrics, the Centers for Disease Control, the American Psychological Association, and many more, agree that start times before 8:30 a.m. in the middle and high schools are harmful to students. These expert organizations all all advocate for healthy school hours because they agree that chronic sleep deprivation is a serious health concern for adolescents. This lack of sleep causes depression, anxiety, substance abuse, suicidal ideation, obesity, eating disorders, diabetes, cardiovascular disease, behavior problems, impaired judgment, car accidents, sports injuries, tardiness and absenteeism, poor academic performance, and even potential impact on brain development. There is 30 years of conclusive, evidence-based research that shows when these schools move to a later start time, it always results in the students getting more sleep. Always. This additional sleep and sleep that is aligned with their biological clocks reduces all the negative impacts I mentioned before. All the studies support this. Moving start times later means students get better and more sleep, and students are healthier and happier. Yes, there are other factors to be considered. The perceived obstacles must be handled in the best way for our district, but none of them changes the fact that our current schedule is harming kids. To quote Harvard Medical School professor and sleep expert, Dr. Judith Owens, to do nothing is to continue to do harm. This change will no longer benefit my own children. I can't tell you how much this saddens me. Both my kids have felt the impacts and had to struggle through it for years. It's been devastating to watch. And we, as a family, are privileged to have access to all kinds of supports and health care and are able to compensate. Still, at times, that's barely been enough. There are others that aren't so fortunate. And many students and their families aren't even aware that sleep deprivation is currently hurting them. But this was never about just my kids. It's about what's doing best for the majority, not any one family or student. I don't want the reality to be that I personally know of way too many kids with intense mental health struggles, including self-harm, suicidal ideations, and attempts, right here in Bridgewater. I really don't want to know that. And sure, not all of this can be blamed on lack of sleep. But we know that healthy school start times are a concrete, achievable step that has been proven to help. The experts are all telling us to do this. How can we not take that step? So I want to check in tonight on the process for the School Start Times Committee. I appreciate that Mr. Beers already mentioned that it will be part of the planning for full-day kindergarten. Last spring, the board again passed a resolution to form a committee to gather input from all the relevant stakeholders, form a plan, and present its recommendations to the board by the end of this school year. It's important that this committee include all the different perspectives like staff, students, parents, athletics, transportation, finances, and so on. Nearly 5 years ago, I sent the board examples and information from other districts who've achieved this health and safety improvement. Much has happened in those 5 years, but very little progress has made in gathering the information that we need so that we find the best solution for Bridgewater specifically. If the board does truly intend to convene this committee so it can get the valuable input from stakeholders and have them present a plan by the end of the year, the planning needs to start now if it hasn't already. Participants must be selected, background information distributed, a process defined, I assume 3 or 4 meetings, a consensus reached and solidified and communicated to the board. Considering the committee will likely have questions about various impacts that will need to be researched, there should be enough time left between the meetings. As the referendum was a priority, I was told to wait until after the vote last March. Then when we passed the resolution in the spring, I was told we should wait until fall when we returned to school because people would be more available. Then some wanted to know the outcome of the latest referendum vote to know if full-day kindergarten had passed, and it was announced that the meetings of this committee will begin in the winter. It's now mid-November, and thankfully we know full-day kindergarten will be a reality. And there's only one more board meeting this calendar year. So I'd like to know what the schedule for the steps of the committee will be. How will we choose the stakeholder members? If we're putting out an application, will that be done in December? Who is going to oversee the process? And when will the first meeting be? In January, maybe? If you don't have all the answers available tonight, could this be presented to us at the next board meeting? Because I understand you might not know off the top of your head. That's all, thanks.
So if you're asking me, I have no answers to those questions.
Okay.
And in terms of when we can discuss it, I don't, AJ, this was previously through community relations?
Yeah. Goes through, yep. So it would be through community relations.
So we added to that. Thank you.
I do have to comment on this. I've said more than once, there's an order of operations. All right, there are no secrets here. the order of operations is school start times would come out of our long-range planning. So when is our long-range planning? The long-range planning, as I had said earlier, we're signing a contract for it. It's going to be run through school boards, and it will go in January/February. That's when it'll happen. And at that time, that's when we see if there is community support, all right? And we'll have that discussion on school start times amongst other things. And that's when we'll do the action. As far as what the criteria for the committee is, I can't answer that for you because we just spent every iota of our energy passing a referendum for an issue that has been debated here for 30 years. So respectfully, I asked for a week to determine this. Second, the process that was done the last time around was done so poorly that I am not going to emulate those processes of the past. Yes, we will have a committee. It will come out of the long-range plan / steering committee. And yes, we will have all of those folks. But we have a new Board of Ed in January, and that will be up to them to determine. And as we had said, not just once, but multiple times, just to be clear, any change in school start times would happen when we open kindergarten. Why? The answer why is you just can't pull a lever and make this happen. You just can't. You can't say, I want this. There are a lot of things we have to include. We have employees. We have parents. There are a lot of factors that all have to be weighed, and it will. And then we'll make our decisions and base it on what we want to do, but also what we can do. Because I will say, Mrs. Levitt, I don't think it's fair at all to sit here and criticize the inaction of this board or of me when we know darn well 2 years ago we had a flood within the district, we had a transportation crisis, and we lost 17 drivers. We lost 17. The prior plan, from what I saw, was that we had to add 17 to make this happen. So unfortunately, no, we could not come up with 35. We could not come up with 35 drivers out of thin air. We were trying to get kids back to school after being out for a year and a half. And we're still trying to combat the learning losses that those students have. And I am passionate about this because I'm not going to sit and be told that I don't care about kids because I haven't acted on this one issue. I do not think that's fair. And I'm also going to say the statistics we say, they cannot all be tied to school start times. And it is not the panacea for all the ills in the world, where if we change school start times, all these things are going to go away. Is it a factor that we can take a look at? Absolutely. But it is all going to, and I'm not going to apologize. There's been a process that's been discussed the whole way. And I think any inkling after what we've accomplished as a board, what we've accomplished as a community, that we don't care about kids, I'm just going to have to take a deep breath so I don't say the wrong thing.
I'm just going to say that at no point has anyone questioned whether or not you or the administration cares about kids. I think it's something that has been raised.
We said to not do something is harmful.
I didn't say that. Dr. Judith Owens from Harvard in a sleep.
Regardless, as we have discussed as a board, having this committee on multiple occasions, I would like to discuss at the next community relations meeting the process for getting that committee together. If that process includes first getting information from the steering committee, then that's fine, and we can discuss that at the committee meeting on Friday. But I think that it is something that we as a board have talked about on multiple occasions and need to discuss how to move forward on it.
Mr. Beers, I will put it on the agenda for Friday just to discuss what the process is and the time frame, and that's it.
Any other old business? Is there any new business?
Yes, please.
Walker.
I just wanted to thank you all for coming out and speaking. I grew up in this town, and I work with many kids from every kind of family dynamic and walk of life and background. And I stand with anybody who rejects hate and embraces love and community. And I share similar concerns and fears. And I'm also fully confident in our administration and teachers, and I'm looking forward to seeing how this moves forward. So thank you.
Any other new business? This is Lee.
I also want to thank the community for coming out and express your opinions. On this school district policy point of view, I wonder, this kind of activity, is there a opt-out or opt-in kind of protocol in place? If, let's say in 2 days a decision wasn't made, how would the families choose to do a certain way? I think that's something that
The administration is taking what we heard into account, and we will act accordingly.
right. So
No, am I setting up an opt-out? No, I'm not. The administration is going to act accordingly.
okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
Any other new business? I know. So we need to set a date for the board retreat. I'm happy to talk about dates right now. We don't have anything on the calendar for November 28th or November 30th. November 30th being a Thursday. And the other date that I was thinking is December 19th. November 28th and December 19th are both Tuesdays. So I would ask that you guys check your calendars and see if those are available to you. Mr. Beers is, if you could let me know which works best for you. November, you won't be back, okay. November 28th, 30th, and December 19th. The 28th, okay.
I can do December.
December 5th, we have a personnel meeting, but we can certainly move it.
Just trying to get a basis. It's the thing I know it's the only day I know I have something to do.
I did say the 30th. 30th work for everyone?
No, 30th is the county board.
Oh, yeah, that is SCB. It's the County Board Association. That's why I didn't have it on there in the first place. All right, how about this? I'll just email you guys a couple dates. We'll figure it out. Does that work? Yep. All right, if there's no other new business, I'll take a motion. We don't have to adjourn. We're not going to close.
But we did already. Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? We're adjourned.